Welcome to Freedom on Fire. This is your boy Bob TV, Robert Brown. How you doing today? Got to deal with the situation because we got a lot of people that's just going crazy, nutso, going berserk over Jill Stein making the decision to challenge the election process of 2016. She's challenged it in certain states. I'm not going to go into detail. Look, if y'all asking, first of all, if you're asking the question why she's challenging a few states instead of all of them, give her the money to challenge all of them, and she'll challenge all of them. It takes money to do that stuff. She can't do it. But what she did was she relied on experts who came to her and said, in these few states, the irregularities are off the charts. It just doesn't sound right. For an example, there's one state when more Green Party running for the state Senate got more votes than her. That's just crazy. So anytime you feel like you were defrauded, anytime you feel like you were marginalized, you should challenge the election. First of all, Jill Stein was marginalized from the jumpstart of her winning her campaign, of her winning her nomination, going into the general, for the simple fact that the media-driven polls refused to poll 18 to 35 years old and sometimes 18 to 40. That right there was a setup for fraud. They did not want her to, they did not on purpose poll the 18 to 35 plus because they know the 18 to 35 is fed up with politics as usual. They're fed up with the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and a lot of them lean toward third party, whether it was Libertarian Gary Johnson or whereas Green Party candidate Jill Stein, who I proudly voted for in the state of New York. So looking at that was a setup from the jumpstart. Anytime you voter suppress me, and that's a type of voter suppression, you're suppressing the voter from an opportunity to know who I am and what I bring to the table. How do you suppress me? By not polling fairly. By not polling fairly, you totally take out an entire demographic, the millennials, out of your vote count or out of your polling count. And in this case, it may have been the situation of taking out an entire demographic, the millennials, out of the voting process. In other words, voting for millennials were up. But did they vote count? We don't know. Now, people say, why is she doing that? Because she should. Number one, when you got a campaign that has proof of stabbing the back of their own constituent, or not constituent, but their own party member or a member who ran in their party, when you see that there was collusion and conniving and the experts said there was voter suppression, well, you saw the voter suppression, but the experts said there were cases of voter fraud, closing the polls and all that. When you see a campaign like the DNC on purpose marginalize their own, stabbing the back their own, you got every right to question what they're going to do to you in this election. She have every right to say, nah, I'm going to assume you cheated. I'm not going to assume you didn't cheat. I'd rather assume you cheated because you cheated to get to this point. So why should I not challenge you in cheating the general? I should expect you to cheat in the general if you're going to stab and collude and get over on your own. So she has every right to challenge it just on that alone. But just on that alone, but not just that, but even in the general, you totally taking out a demographic that heavily support me and my other third party candidate, Gary Johnson, who they overwhelmingly voted for us to keep me out of that process, to not poll 18 to 35. 18 to 35 was going toward Libertarian when Rand Paul was running, not when Gary Johnson was running. They were heavily in favor of Papa Ron Paul. But Ron Paul didn't run. So a lot of Bernie supporters went toward Jill Stein. So they knew that. So since the media-driven poll was in the pocket of the Clintons, I'm quite sure the Clintons made some kind of way to let CNN and all these other ones know, don't you poll those millennials, because the millennials are going to end up getting Jill Stein in the debates and Gary Johnson in the debates. And we can't have that. We only need it between me and Donald because I believe I can crush Donald. Lie. Can't do it. Number three, I don't want to put numbers on this. when during the election, you see people in your own party getting more votes than yours, you got to question that. That could mean Flips voted. So with these three factors alone, she should challenge it. Now, all of y'all getting upset. Oh, this may get, for you Trump supporters, and I love you guys because I love anybody that's an American. You need to calm your horses down. Jill is in no way, shape, or form is going to cause these votes to flip for Hillary and Hillary. And even if she did expose that Donald Trump frauded, let's say Donald Trump frauded. I don't think he frauded. I think he won this fair and square. But let's say he did fraud it. Let's say he did. It is the right thing to do to challenge it. It was the right thing for her to do. See, when she filed that suit or when she challenged it, she challenged the credibility of Trump and the credibility of Hillary Clinton. She went after them both, not just one. So if she can prove collusion on both ends, she can challenge their right to candidacy. She can. Now, I know you're upset with that. But first of all, Trump supporters, you don't have to worry about that because Hillary Clinton outgored this thing. I heard that Obama told her to concede and concede quick, and she did that. So there's no way she conceded, she gave up, she didn't give it the proper time to marinate. Know what I mean? Let it settle a little bit, and let's see what the next few days come out to, you know. And if Trump would have did that, I understand Democrats would have been all on him, but Trump had the right to challenge that if it didn't go his way. I'm all for that. But she outgored this thing. She conceded. Even when the evidence proved that she got more votes and all that, she conceded, though. You don't have to concede right away on anything. Bernie Sanders didn't concede right away. He took it all the way to the convention. Now, one thing I admire about Jill Stein is that she said, I'm going to challenge it. I mean, it's proven that you cheated Bernie. Why am I not going to think you're going to cheat me? Come on. So she did something that Bernie didn't do. Bernie punked out. Bernie, his worst decision ever as a politician, ever. And it's going to eat him up for years to come. He was smart to run on the Democratic ticket and get the exposure. But after knowing that he was frauded and after knowing about the collusion, after knowing about it, he knew it, but after it was proven, he decided to continue to support them. That was a punk move, a coward move. I don't understand why he did that, but he had every right to answer, to challenge that, and say, "Forget y'all, I'm going third party. You gonna stab me in the back? You gonna do this to me? I was looking for a reason for you to do this to me so I can run third party. I was on your side. But now I got exposure. I'm running third party. I'm taking not only half of your base, but my independent base and some of the Republicans into running independent, maybe joining forces with Jill, building up a third option to challenge the now Republican-like Democrats and now the ultra-alt-right Republicans to come back to the middle. He didn't do that. Biggest mistake, Jeff Weaver he shouldn't have never listened to Jeff Weaver up to that point. So, let me get back to this. So what I'm saying is, first of all, y'all can calm down, all right? Hillary Clinton supporters, it's not going to get her the election. It's not going to give it to her. I don't care if it's proven that she got more electoral votes. The deal is done. She conceded. And even if the Electoral College choose her, she conceded. So it's done. Donald Trump worked hard, got his base out there. He was running out there 4-5 meetings a day. Not Hillary Clinton. He earned that. He went out there and pounded the base in the Rust Belt and things like that. And I told you, don't you ever underestimate your opponent. So, this is not going to get Hillary Clinton the election, Trump supporters. Hillary Clinton supporters is not going to get her the election. So I don't care if you want to give money to Jill Stein, fine, go for it. I don't care if George Soros gave her the money. Look, if Democrats want to be dumb enough to give Jill Stein money where Jill Stein can expose the election fraud in the Democratic Party to make it official that they cheated, not only her, but Bernie Sanders, by all means, baby, let them do it. Let them do it. You're shooting yourself you're shooting yourself in the foot. So going back to what I'm saying, people, American people, calm down. Trump supporters, my brothers and sisters, my fellow Americans, I love you, Trump supporters. You know, that wasn't a decision I wanted to go, but I'm open. I'm not one-sided. I believe God can touch and use anybody to do his will and purpose for good, even Donald Trump. I believed it with George Bush. I was a little upset that it turned out more bad than good, but he did do some good. The faith-based initiative was a good thing for the community. So I believe God can use anybody if that person is open to allow God to use them. Now, I know you probably don't believe in God, but I do. You know? But no, it's not going to get her the election. So Donald Trump supporters, you can calm down. Hillary supporters, it's not going to get her the election. So don't get all happy and giddy because your girl conceded. So even if the Electoral College gave them all her votes, she would not be stamped because legally she conceded. And once you concede, you out, baby, ask Al Gore. Last but not least, any person that's running for office, if you saw what happened in the primaries of how they marginalized their own opponent, you should assume they're going to marginalize you and cheat you. And if you see in your results that things just don't look right and it probably look like there's some flipping going on and experts looking at it and saying, yeah, it looked like a whole lot of flipping going on, you have a right to investigate. You have a right to have somebody look into it. Forget what the right and the left say. That's your right. And people on the left, right, and middle, up and down, this is part of the process. It is imperative that we all as Americans stand up for election purity. I'm not talking about voter fraud, but yet I am including voter fraud. I don't care. They say there's no hint of voter fraud. 1 or 2, 3 people is voter fraud. When you count people who are in prison who were stripped of their rights to vote and their name end up on the rolls, that's voter fraud. Look, just give them the right to vote. Don't fraud them. Let prisoners vote. Make it legal for them to vote. So when you see stuff like that, but yet when you see the polling stations closed or being switched around, when you see different machines getting higher regularity than the other machines, then that means we need to fight to go back to the paper ballots. So please, this is a good thing. Challenging the election process is a good thing when the experts, not when you decide, when you get a panel of experts that's saying that this could have happened to you, you have a right to challenge it. You have a right to challenge it. Now, another reason why this has to happen for Jill Stein is because I strongly believe that Jill Stein got way more than 1%. I strongly believe there's a chance that the 18 to 35 that use certain machines could have been purged from the rolls because they were purged from the polling. I believe Jill Stein got about 7%. I believe she got more than 5%, which is needed for her to have federal funding to fight as a legitimate campaign. Well, they're legitimate anyway, but fight as a contending campaigner in the 2018 and 2020 election. I believe that Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party do not want nobody else challenging the Republicans. So somebody could have cheated just in that to keep her from reaching that goal. If I can knock out the quarterback, the star quarterback, it don't matter how many pretty footballs you got. Ain't no football's going to be thrown in accuracy because the second string is not good as the first string. Well, sometimes in some cases it is, as per Dallas Cowboys. I can't stand Tony Romo. Anyway, let me get back to this. So there's a volatile reason. There's a purposeful reason for Jill Stein to do that. Jill Stein, you fight for election integrity. You fight to keep tyranny from taking over this country, because to not do anything about it is inviting tyranny. And what comes after tyranny? Fascism or dictatorship and things like that. No, this is the American thing to do, the right thing to do. If you knew she cheated Bernie, their own, then you were smart to assume that they're going to cheat you in the general. And now you see irregularities, you challenge it. I don't care what the Trump supporters say. I don't care what the Hillary Clinton supporters say. Now, if you Hillary Clinton Trump supporters, don't sweat it. This is not going to get Hillary the election. What it's going to do is going to give Jill the votes that she feel that may have been literally stolen from her. I'm not talking about somebody earning somebody votes. I'm talking about literally out of Jill's hands into Hillary Clinton's hands. So you don't have to worry about Trump is the president. Hillary Clinton is not going to be the president no matter what. She conceded. That was the done deal. No matter what happened, she is not going to be president. Number two, Hillary Clinton supporters, listen to me. I don't care if George Soros' mama, I don't care who gives her money. If they want to pay for the exposing of Hillary Clinton's fraudulent campaign, pay it up, pay it up, pay it up. You're paying for your own knife to go in your own back. People, I'm Bob TV.